Hi, and welcome to episode 47 of Tales of Yarnia. My name is Hannah. I'm coming to you from Cheltenham in the UK, which is where I live with my other half Jimmy and our yellow Labrador Jonah, who hopefully you just saw at the beginning there. I feel like it's been a little while since I did a proper podcast. The last one I did was a live episode, which was really fun. But I think there were a couple of things I forgot to mention because I got caught up in the whole live situation. So yeah, I feel like it's been a weird couple of weeks. I think it's been like that for everyone. and there's all sorts of stuff going on in the world, but I just want to try and focus this episode on getting lost in crafty things and focusing on the things that we can enjoy. So I hope you're here for that, and hope you enjoy the episode. Forgot to say, welcome back to any returning viewers. I really appreciate you coming back to watch more episodes, and thank you so much to any return Also a big welcome to any new viewers. It's so lovely to have you here, and I really hope you enjoy what I've got to show you. So, social media wise, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Yarnia Designs, and you can also find my knitting patterns, which are available on Ravelry under Yarnia Designs as well. And I will include links to all of that in the description box just below. Also, links to everything that I talk about, all of the makers and projects and patterns and all of that, those will also be in the description box if you want to find them. Okay, so moving on to, there is currently a make-along, which we are hosting. It's a very informal make-along, so there aren't going to be, I think initially I'd said I might try and find a few prizes, but with the whole postal situation at the moment and us being on lockdown, I don't feel like it's the best idea for me to send out physical prizes. But once the make-along is finished, I might pick out some winners from the thread which we've got going on Ravelry. There isn't a finished objects thread. I forgot to say, this is the slowdown make-along, which is just focusing on slowing down, which I think we've all been forced to do a little bit, and focusing on just the joy of making. So there is no finished objects thread because it's all about the process of, and enjoying the process. So I might just pick out some winners, try and do that at random from the chatter thread, which we've got going, and you can pick some of my patterns. Yeah, I'll do a pattern-based prize drawing, if that's okay with everyone. And try and do a different kind of make-along or knit-along the next time with physical prizes. But for now, I think that would be the best thing to do. So that's running until the end of April. So make sure you get involved in the thread. It's been really lovely to see what people have been up to. It covers a whole range of crafts from knitting, crochet, spinning, cross stitch, embroidery. You could include macrame, weaving, just anything that's loosely fibre based or crafty and that sort of sewing. Yeah, you could do sewing. I'm sure there were other things I mentioned when I announced the make-along, and I can't remember them now. But yeah, feel free to include whatever you want, as long as you're focusing. It's focused on the joy of making and not putting pressure on yourself. So that's the announcements, and I'll be onto the actual knitting or crocheting. No, I haven't got any crochet. So yeah, onto the knitting. I've got one finished object to show you, and it is super cute. It is this little Bonbon Bunny. So this is going to be a present for someone. I don't think they watch the podcast, so hopefully it's okay. But this, I'm making two. There's going to be another one which I will show you is currently in progress. I haven't sewn a mouth on yet. I think I will do, but for now I'm counting this as a finished object. Hopefully that's showing up okay. So I do really enjoy making these. It's uses DK weight yarn and they work up really quick. and it is the Bonbon, I think it's just called Bonbon by, I've forgotten the designer's name, but I'll include a link. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry, but I've just had this for ages now. I made some a couple of years ago, or was it last year? I made one. So I just already had the pattern, and I thought, well, I will use that again to make some more, because they were really fun to do. Some of the bits are quite fiddly when you start off. You knit all of the pieces, like the legs and the arms and the ears and the little tail separately, and I just held them all on different DPMs to hold the stitches, hold the live stitches, and then the pattern has you start knitting the body and then you gradually attach each piece, and that's quite fun to do. And then I've got these safety eyes as well, so that's all good. So the yarn I used, I really love the yarn. The yarn is Pixie yarn, and it's the Amp Up the Love colourway, which was a charity colourway. I don't know if it's going to be a regular. I don't think it is. I think it's just a one-off for charity. Here is the actual ball, and it's 100% merino. I absolutely love this colour. I'm thinking, because this only uses about 50, well, it's about half a skein of DK that it uses to do the bunnies. So I've got enough left over to do a matching hat, like a child's hat. So I might do those later in the year. I'll just show you, whilst I'm on the topic of the Bonbon Bunnies, I'll show you what I've managed on the second one so far. So far I've only managed one foot. But hopefully that's fixing. Yeah. But I really love how it's working up so far. So you can sort of see I've done 1 foot and put that on a DPN in a size that I'm not using, and then I'm knitting the rest on DPNs. That's just how I find it easiest to knit these up. So the yarn for the second one, I'll just put that down, is Vicky Brown Designs, and this is also DK. I think this is a merino nylon blend, might be 75-25, and the colourway is Wisteria. And I've had this in my stash for at least a year, and I absolutely love wisteria plants. The flowers, I absolutely love them. We've got one which we planted 2 years ago now in our garden, and I've noticed it's got the start of what I think are little flower buds. I've googled what they should look like if they are flowers, and these do look the same. So I'll hopefully have tried to include some footage of the garden, because we've been doing quite a bit in the garden recently. So I'll try and included footage of bits of the garden and various plants at the beginning of the episode. I just think it's quite nice to lead in with some pretty videos and pictures and stuff. So yes, this is the Wisteria colourway. So pretty. I love it. So that's the colour that's the yarn I'm using for the second Bonbon Bunny. So yeah, I'm going to have 2 bunnies for gifting, and then I will have enough for 2 matching child size hats as well. So I'll just pop that all back in the bag. I forgot to show you the bag, but I will do that now. Oh, and the yarn which I've used for the tail, I think it's a Sirdar. I just had it in my stash already from a different baby knit I did at some point. I'm pretty sure it was I don't have the ball band anymore, but it is just sort of this fluffy stuff. I just got it from Hobbycraft, which is like a really basic craft store here in the UK. I don't know what it was, I'm sorry. I know they did it in different weights. I think I got the chunky. I probably should have got the DK at the time. I just didn't realise they did it in different thicknesses. But it's made for an extra squishy tail, so. And then I'm just using some soft toy filling from Hobbycraft, which I have also had for a long time. And all of that is, sorry for the packaging noises, living in my Mrs. Brown's bag, which is just perfect for putting all these pieces in. Which I didn't want to put the Bonbon Bunny back in there. He or she's been sitting on a shelf in the lounge looking pretty until they have their friend ready. So I'm just going to put them back over here. Ooh. Okay, so that's the Bonbon Bunnies. See if my tea has cooled down a bit now. I got this mug for my birthday from my sister. I absolutely love it. It's just so comfortable to hold. And it's just such a lovely mug. Got these like gold spots on. I think it's hand painted. I'm not sure where it's from. I'm not too sure. I just really like it. My new favourite mug. My tea is cool enough to drink now. It's a green tea that I've got today. I think it was from T2, and it's got like blueberry and popped rice. I think it's called Blue Suede Shoes. Something along those lines. Can't quite remember. But anyway, enough about the tea. Right, I've done the Bonbon Bunny FO and the one which I've got in progress. So now I'm moving on to a few other whips that I've got. I have got quite a few whips on the go at the moment, and I don't normally have this many. I've got two which I'm not going to show you today, which are Ginny's sweater, which is the Albion sweater, and then I've got my wedding shawl as well. But both of those I haven't made that much progress on, so I thought I'll wait and show those another time when I have made a bit more progress on them. So I've still got 3 more whips to show you, even though those two are just sat sort of out of action at the moment. Not out of action, but I just haven't made enough progress on them. I've done like a couple of rows, but it's not really enough to show you anything different from the last time you saw them. So I've got enough to show you and talk about without including those. So I think that's fine. I've just been finding it hard to focus on like just a couple of things. I've been flitting between all of my projects and even been doing a bit of spinning and crochet as well. So I've just been all over the place with my crafting. I think a lot of people might be feeling like that at the moment. So sorry if it seems like I haven't made tons of progress, although it's been quite a while since I saw you, so maybe I have. Okay, so the next one I'm going to show you, I think is a new cast on since I last spoke to you, and it's living in this gorgeous bag from my friend Jan, and I absolutely love it. It's just so cute, and I got this little pin. I think it's a margarita, but it's all summery and bright and happy, and I like it. So, living in here is a very, very exciting new collaboration with lovely Sophie of Pixie Yarns. And I love Sophie's yarn. I've used it quite a few times. I'm using it in my wedding shawl. I'm using it for that Bonbon Bunny, and now I've started a design with it as well. And she dyes the most beautiful colorways. And so I had an idea for a t-shirt design, and so I thought, well, I'd ask if she would be interested in doing a collaboration. And she said yes, so that was really nice. And she came up with this colourway. I'll show you the yarn first. Sorry, the cake is now slightly messy because it's been living in my project bag, but it's this gorgeous colourway. And hopefully you can see the really delicate speckles and the pops of green and blue, and I think there's some brown speckles as well in places, and little pinks. It's just a gorgeous summery colour. Absolutely love it. So I've got 2 skeins of this. It's fingering weight. I think it's merino nylon 75/25, and at the moment I don't think I know the colourway name. I think she's planning on releasing the colourway when I release the design. We might be able to do kits or something like that. So this is the ball which I'm currently working on. Right, so try and show you what I've done so far. The construction is very similar to the bramble tee, which I think I released last year, and also very similar to the sweater which I've currently got in testing, the Lonicera sweater, or I need to learn how to say my own design name, but it's the plant, it's sort of like the alternative name for honeysuckle. So I'm not sure if it's Lonicera or Lonicera, but that's not this anyway. That's the sort of leafy sweater design that I've got in testing at the moment. So it's worked from the bottom up, and it's going to be difficult to show you because I've finished the back of the t-shirt, but I'm now working on the front. So if I just try and show you the lace bit first. It's not been blocked yet, so it's going to be difficult to see exactly how it looks, but it will. In my tea. It will look slightly like that, but it's going to be blocked out a little bit more. So it's going to have it's a very simple lace hem, and then stockinette on the rest of the body. But there's going to be some nice eyelet detail, hopefully around the neckband and the sleeves. So this is it sideways, but it's so hard to show you. The front is going to fall down a little bit, sit a bit lower if I just try and show you the back. So here we go. That is the back of the sweater, but the front's going to look fairly similar. And it's going to be quite a cropped t-shirt, so it'll be perfect for wearing over dresses, but you can also wear it with, well, I'll probably still wear it with jeans and shorts and things. So yeah, don't know if you can see, I'm holding it high up enough. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it so far. I just hope I do the yarn justice with this design. So exciting. I absolutely love it, how it's working up. And the yarn is just so beautiful. Speckles. Try and give you a close up of the speckles. such a gorgeous colourway. Yeah, that is my current t-shirt design. I haven't thought of a name yet, but I've got a couple of ideas bouncing around. So I'll see what I decide on. Okay, I will pop this away. I think I've covered everything to do with that. I'm hoping I'll be able to finish the body soon, and then won't be that long until I can write up the pattern and get that into testing as well. I'm just on a massive kick with garments at the moment. It's the thing which I'm gravitating towards the most to work on. So yeah, you just got to work on what you want to work on, haven't you? Okay, so next up is, I'll show you this one first. Living in My Socks for Dobby bag by Mrs. QB. QB's Handmade, I think. Oh no, QB's Not for Profit. That's what it's called. I am knitting a sock design, which I think I may have shown you briefly, possibly on the live podcast. But I am using Big Sky Yarn Co. on their Sundance sock base, which is 75/25 superwash merino and nylon. And it's called Band of Horses is the colourway name. And this is left over from my Floozy 2. And I'm using a contrast colour, which is also left over from my Floozy 2. And this is Moonstone Dye Works in the Crescent Moon colourway. And I think it's the BFL base, BFL sock. And my design is going, I sort of pick this up for a while and then go back to garments and stuff, but I am enjoying sock knitting as well. I enjoy having a smaller project where you feel like you're making a bit more progress as well. So this is what we've got so far. I'm just past the heel, so I'm doing this cuff down, but I might be able to write this one for both toe up and cuff down. I'll have to see. So, don't know how well this is showing up because it's gone super cloudy now, so the light. We've massively lost the light. I'm just going to move the camera a bit. So I've got a bit more light coming frontwards. This might be a bit easier to see things then. There we go. It's a bit better. Well, Jonah. But it's quite a stretchy pattern, so you can see. And we've got cables on the front and the back. I'm knitting these on some Chowgoo needles. I normally use higher, but I ran out of the size which I needed for this. I decided to go up a needle size from my normal needles just because the cables make this quite a tight fit otherwise, so I wanted the cables to be a bit looser. I just love this colour as well. So that's the back there. Slip stitch heel. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And I'm not racing along with it. I'm just sort of taking my time with that design because I've mostly been interested in knitting garments, but it's nice to pick up a sock every now and again just to do a few rows. And it's good for if you haven't got room in your bag to bring along a garment to knit on. So I think I'm going to use the contrast for the toe of each sock. So hopefully that should all work out. So yeah, that's my sock design. I'll just have another sip of tea. And we'll move on to my last whip that I'm going to show you. And this one, oh gosh, the dog hair. Oh, this is terrible. Jonah's hair just shows up really badly on anything dark. I'm sorry, Claire. So this gorgeous bag is from Claire and John of Mr. B's Yarn and Bird Street UK. The actual shop on Etsy is called Bird Street UK. If I show you around, you can see their logo. So Claire sews the bags, which they sell on there. And this is I think this is a very new fabric, which they had made up. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And it's such a huge bag, it's like perfect for a sweater. And then it's got this super useful handle as well, which I really love. And inside, she's got like two big pockets as well, which might be difficult to show you. Yeah, there you go. Big pockets on the sides, which are really useful as well. So, living in here is my Sorrel Sweater, which is a pattern by Woollen Pine. You finished, Jonah? A pattern by Woollen Pine. And I am currently knitting on the main body, which you actually start knitting it inside out then. So this is the wrong way around. I'll just turn it around. I can't remember where I was the last time I showed this, so I think I did show it on the live podcast. I think. I'm not sure. So I finished the yoke, which I'm really, really pleased about. And I'm now about an inch past the underarm. I really, really love how it's working up, and the feel of this yarn is so gorgeous. So the yarn I'm using two yarns held together, which is what the pattern calls for. Both of mine were from Fruitful Fusion. So I'm holding these two held together. This is a fingering weight non-superwash merino. It's this gorgeous. It's slightly more green than the other yarn, I think. Yes, it's a slightly more greeny, light green tone to it. And then this one, I don't believe this one had a colourway name that I could see. This one is the mohair silk lace weight, and I think it was the cool mint colourway. So those two held together are knitting up beautifully to create this. So I'm really, really loving how it's working up. Just show you the yoke up close. I really love how this is working. So, yeah, I'm not sure if there's much more for me to say about it. I think that was the back. It does have short row shaping. I think this was the back. Yeah. It does have short row shaping so that you can, it gives you a better fit. Yeah, I think that's correct. And yeah. I don't know what else to tell you about this. I just love feeling it. It's so soft. I love this colour as well. So I know a lot of people have done variegated colourways, or you can do fades for your Sorrel Sweater, and instructions are included on how to fade in your colours as well, but I just wanted to do one colour. I just wanted, I don't know, I fell in love with the yarn I bought from Fruitful Fusion, and then I was looking at the different patterns which use fingering weight and mohair lace weight held together, because because I just wanted something to cast on where I didn't have to think too much and I could follow a pattern, so I didn't want to design my own. And I saw this and I thought, no, this would be perfect for it. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's working up, and I think it's going to be really, really cozy. It's not cold enough at the moment to wear a sweater like this, but it will be nice once autumn and winter roll around again to cozy up in something like this. So I think this is the first sweater that I've knit where I've done fingering weight held with mohair. So that should be really nice. I've done a couple of shawls and wraps where I've included mohair, but yeah, this will be my first garment with mohair involved. So yay! So I shall pop that away. I need to wind up some more skeins. I haven't been alternating skeins for this one yet. I think I was planning on doing it once I got past the yoke, so I might start doing that now. I'll have to see if I can be bothered. I get a bit lazy with stuff like that. For my t-shirt design, I did alternate skeins because it's like variegated and just on the stockinette part of the body, not for the lace. So I did alternate skeins then. And I used the Helical Knitting technique, which is, there's a really, really good tutorial by Grace of Babel's Travelling Yarns. So I definitely give that a watch if you are wondering how to alternate skeins without ending up with a seam going down the middle of your work. So yeah, I definitely, if I ever have to alternate skeins, definitely always use the helical method now. So those are all of my whips. I've got a little bit of spinning to talk about, and then I've got a little bit of an acquisition as well. So I'll move on to my finished spin, which I think you can see there in the corner. And here it is. It's a little bit of a uneven spin, this one. But it is the first time that I have tried to spin using a sort of a long draw method to get more of a woolen spun yarn. And it has made it super squishy. I mean, the fibre content of this was rambouillet anyway. It was a braid which I picked up at Unravel, not this year, the previous year. And initially I'd started spinning it on a drop spindle, but as soon as I got a spinning wheel, I much prefer using the spinning wheel. It's so much quicker and easier. I just prefer that technique myself. So yeah, I decided with this one, I don't know why, I just fancied trying a slightly different technique, and it's made it a lot less consistent, but I think that generally happens when you spin long draw anyway. So some bits of it are, I would say, terrible, but it's sort of still worked out at a sport weight, but it's super squishy. It's like a really, really squishy yarn that it's created. I haven't washed it to set the twist yet, which I probably should have done straight away. But it's like quite a sturdy but squishy yarn. So I just wanted to try a different technique and have a bit of fun with it. And to be fair, I do quite like how some bits of it have turned out with the thick and thin. It's just like quite a fun art yarn. So yeah, it was an experiment. So hopefully I'll find something to use it for. But it's just really nice to squish anyway. So yeah, that was my finished spin. And as soon as I finish a spin, I always feel like I need to plan my next one. So the next one is a braid from Hilltop Cloud, and it's a gradient braid which I picked up. So I think I picked this up last year. Can't remember. I think I ordered it online from their website. You might be able to see the colour fade a bit clearer on this side. So I have split the entire braid in half. So this is one half. I split it completely lengthways, keeping 2 super long things of fibre. And I have started spinning the first one. I am just spinning it straight from this, but I'm finding it quite easy to do without prepping the fibre with this one. The content of it is 50% Corriedale, 25% yak, and 25% rose. And I'm actually really enjoying this spin. I've never spun, I don't know if I've spun with Corriedale before. I've definitely never spun with yak or rose. And it's just so beautiful. Like the colours anyway are so gorgeous. And the yak, you can tell the yak definitely brings a depth of the colour. Makes the yak, I think, is a slightly darker fibre than a lot of wool. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and the feel is it's sturdy but still very soft and smooth. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so my plan is I spin 2 bobbins separately, starting from the dark and going all the way through to the blue. So then I'll have 2 separate gradient bobbins, and I'll just do a 2-ply and spin them so that I hopefully keep the colour progression in the gradient as it is. That's the plan. So we'll see how that goes. I just like doing a 2-ply. I know I could have tried to do a chain ply, but I just don't really fancy doing that and learning another new technique right now. I just really wanted to spin a gradient, but I just wanted to stick to my usual 2-ply method. So yeah, I'm really enjoying how it's working up. I can't really show you what's on the bobbin at the moment. I think I've just got to the sort of super dark green bit. So I've managed, I think I'm up to this sort of section now on the first bobbin. So that's really, really exciting. I am really enjoying that. The feel of the fibre is really lovely to spin, so I am very much enjoying that spin at the moment. But yeah, gosh, it's got so dark outside now. It was bright sunshine when I started filming, and I think it might rain now. So I've not got much left to show you now. Excuse me. I'll just have a sip of tea. I'm not used to talking this much. Okay. So I've got one thing left to show you, and that is a cheeky acquisition. Excuse me. And I have bought a sweaters quantity from Mr. B's yarn with a specific project in mind. And I'll tell you a bit about the project after I show you the yarn. So I've just brought 2 of them down, just so because the rest of them are in my living in my stash at the moment until I'm ready to cast on. And I've bought a sweater's quantity of their Merlin colourway on the Elba DK base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. I'll show you one at once. Oh, the speckles in this. It's just a really, really lovely neutral colourway with these gorgeous speckles of blue and greens and purples and sort of like browny tones. It's just going to make a gorgeous garment. So I have used their Merlin colourway before, but it was the fingering weight base, and it was for a pair of socks for my granddad. And I love the colourway so much, I decided this needed to become a sweater for me. So the pattern, which I've got in mind, was gifted to me for my birthday as a present by the lovely Chantal of Shanty Knits. I think that's the name of her podcast, the Shanty Knits podcast. And it was so kind of her to give me a pattern. It's the Susu. I can't remember who it's by, but I will include the details in the down bar and hopefully on the screen as well. Maybe a picture of it as well. It's a really lovely, it's sort of I think it's a 3/4 length, quite boxy sweater with a deep V-neck. So it's sort of like a big layering piece, but even though it's DK, I think it'll be quite airy and because it's such an oversized sweater. I think it'll just be quite an airy sort of layering bit of knitwear. So I'm just really interested to get going on that, but I know if I cast it on now, some of my other whips they'll sort of go into hibernation, and I've already got too many whips on the go. So, but I thought if I at least get the yarn ready, then I've got my whole project ready to cast on as a really, really nice treat once I finish a couple of whips. And I thought, if I know what I want, it's important to support your dyers and small independent businesses, particularly right now. So I thought I would buy the yarn now and get it ready for when I want to cast on, because it's a really hard time for some. I think it's a hard time for a lot of independent businesses and a lot of businesses in general right now with the whole climate, but I'm not going to go into that. I just want to say that I wanted to support some local businesses, and I think it's really important to do that right now. So, oh, look at the speckles on this. Speckles on that bit. Look at that. So, yeah, I decided to get it now. And then I've got a treat project ready and lined up for when I feel like I'm allowed to cast it on. So that was the last thing I think I had to show you. So yeah, I did want to mention a couple of podcasts to go and check out. If you are looking for something to watch or something new which you might not have seen before, you might have seen them already, so that's great if you have. But yeah, firstly, the Shanty Knits podcast. She does such gorgeous knits, has really lovely projects, and she's got not too many episodes yet, so it would be easy to catch up completely on all of the episodes if you wanted a quick binge watch. And the other podcast is Bex Creates, and that's my friend Becky, who was previously in the Bird Box podcast with Claire and John of Mr. B's Yarn, and she's now started her own vlog and podcast, I think because it's so difficult for them all to meet up, and especially now with the situation. They're not allowed to meet up and podcast. So she's been doing some really lovely vlogs. I think she's called them the Corona Chronicles, I think, which was quite funny. So yeah, I'll definitely go and check that out if you're interested in gardening and cooking and just all the crafty stuff that she gets up to. It's just really, really nice and relaxing to watch. But then she's also got some sort of more structured podcast episodes, a bit like this, where she talks you through everything she's making. So, and she's also been doing some Bonbon Bunnies. So if you're a fan of those, I'd go and check that out. So I think that's pretty much everything I've got to talk to you about. Life stuff, we've obviously not been doing very much. We've mostly been focusing on the garden because we've had some really lovely weather here, and Jimmy has been home a lot more than he would usually be because he's working from home, so he's not got to travel as much, he's not had to work away, so that's been quite nice to have him around more. And Joan has been enjoying that too, everyone being together a lot more. So that has been quite nice. That is a positive within all of this craziness that's going on right now. And yeah, we've just been focusing on finishing the border, which we had started last year in our garden. And we have started growing some little seedlings for vegetables. We've got some chilies. I think we've got just 2 different varieties of chilies on the go, and there are a lot of them. So chilies, tomatoes, courgettes are currently on the go, but we've ordered some more seeds for things like kale and cucumbers and green beans, I think. I think there was some more, but I can't remember what they are. So Jimmy's dug out a new veg patch, like a temporary veg patch that we're just going to keep until we get the garden sorted. The garden needs landscaping and a few things like that doing to it, but we've done the stuff that we can do ourselves, like putting in a border down the length of one side of it. So yeah, in a section where we're hopefully planning on putting a decking area next year, he's just put a temporary veg patch because that gets the sun all year round. But not all year. Doesn't get the sun all year. All day. If the sun's out, then it gets the sun all day. So yeah, that's what we've been up to. Yeah, just been trying to make the most of the weather and the situation which we're currently in. So I hope all of you are managing to stay safe, and I hope all of your families are managing to stay healthy and well. I know this is a really tough time for everyone. Just try and find the little things that make you happy if you can. Just a little bit of joy to focus on. I think that's what's getting me through. So yeah, it's really tough not being able to see family and things like that, or friends. I'm quite lucky that lucky in certain ways that I'm still going to work, so I still see my colleagues who are friends, and so that I do get some social interaction there. But at the same time, I'm sort of more at risk because I can't work from home, so it's a double-edged sword, I think. Yeah, so there's good and bad points to it, but I suppose I'm quite lucky that I'm not a super high-risk person, so yeah, there's lots to be thankful for. There is a hell of a lot to be thankful for, and I know so many people are in worse situations, and I just hope that you all manage to stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside if you're on lockdown, like you are in the UK. We just had our lockdown extended for 3 weeks, I think, from yesterday. So for a definite another 3 weeks. So yeah, this is life for the foreseeable, but at least I can still podcast. I've finally had the brain space to do it, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I feel like it's been a little bit all over the place, but I'm here. You're watching, hopefully, and we've managed to film an episode. And Jonah's asleep on the floor, snoring. So life is normal. Okay, so I'm going to round this off and hopefully speak to you all again before too long. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all managed to stay safe. And yeah, bye.